one of the things that I hear oftentimes is that our council should just stick to rubbish and rates. Now, I think that we need to move beyond that, because we're looking at this issue because council is the level of government that is closest to the people and can actually have an important influence on how our community is brought together in times of crisis, like we're seeing at the moment, which we are moving into a moment with the war that we're currently seeing in the Middle East, which is actually impacting on the living standards of our people because of the increase in fuel prices. So that's something that actually drives home with direct relevance, and also puts on the agenda the whole question of the drive for renewables. The important thing for us in Newcastle, especially a coal-oriented town, largest coal exporter in the world, that we actually move as quick as we can away from fossil fuels. This current situation is another imperative towards that. So that's why peace is really important, that we actually avoid the situation that is impacting on cost of living standards. Now the problem is, because we've had a council that is in recent past has been far too focused on neoliberal government and corporate interests, we've actually moved away from community. I know I'd like to see that turned around and have our community really front and centre. Now, especially on this question, as I've just started to talk about on the transition that we need to have. Look, I just heard recently that one of the major supermarket distributors is electrifying their whole fleet. Now, I know Newcastle City Council has done some good work on that, but we need to really drive that quicker and faster, because we're going to be seeing more of this terrible situation, wars and increased fuel prices that we're seeing at the moment. The other really important thing, though, is that what have we been promised? We've been promised in the past, part of the transition would be towards renewables, such as the wind farms. Well, that seems to have gone off the agenda. And what are we getting now? A transition to missile factories. So that's another example how peace is council business, and acknowledge the fact that we're in the premises of the Hunter Workers, of which I am a member as well, delegate the Hunter Workers Council, that peace, just as peace is union business, peace should be council business. And peace actually is really integrated and big part of the Newcastle culture and history. Go back to the First World War with the fight against conscription. And then jump forward to the inspiring example of the Silkwood incident in the 1930s, when seafarers across the road stood by Chinese seafarers who did not want to see them getting coal or iron ore shipments from Newcastle. Yes, it wasn't just Wollongong, it was also Newcastle, to support the Chinese war effort against the Japanese war effort against their own country. That's something that we can be proud of. Jump ahead to the new campaign for nuclear disarmament and the huge peace marches that we saw in Newcastle in the 80s. And then in more recent past, in 2000, led by Hunter Workers, we had great marches calling for peace in the Middle East. If only we'd been able to follow that example and be successful in that and stop John Howard going to war over the whole question of Iraq. And then last year we saw really inspiring huge mobilisation of thousands of Novocastrians right across the political spectrum.
Steve, can you wind up, please?
Yep, sure. In support and solidarity with Palestine. Peace is council business, and as Lord Mayor, I would really hope to make that a focus of our great City Council. Thank you.
Steve O'Brien, authorised by G Payne, 472 Hunter Street, Newcastle.